Today we're going to be going over what I call the project list view. The area where these are located are normally under, say, projects and quotes, or projects and rental POs, etc. So what an element is, because this is such a customizable project, everything is called whatever you want it to be. If you go under projects, project elements, this is where you can configure what all your different elements are, what they are called, etc. So I'm going to open up under project, project elements, quotes. This is where we can go and see and configure what actually makes up all the configurations that is a quote. If we want to name this quote to, say, an estimate, we would change, the singular name from quote to estimate and the plural name to estimates, etc. One of the other areas that is nice is under menu. You can say what menu on the top you want this element to show up in. So because we put this in our project module, under projects is where you will find the quote list page. If you wanted to show up under financials, we would change that menu from the project to the financials, and then we would save the changes, and that would allow us to have these quotes show up under a financials area instead of under just a project view. Now, the area that we can go through and configure what shows up here is in the search area under the project element. So all these columns are configurable as far as what information you want Flex to pull out when you open up this page. So right now we've got it configured for the name of the element, the number, the company name of the client. We put in here location also. If you've got multiple locations, you may want to do some filtering by the location area. You've also got account managers, status, start date, return date. We put in taxes if we want to display how much taxes are being billed for each of these, the total, and the balance due. So let's go and look at some of the search tokens and how we can add or change the different columns that we want to include in here. So again, projects, project elements, select the element, we're going to select quote, and then from here we're going to go to the tab called search options. And this is where you can add in all those different the name and the token or the expression that you want it to return. So these are the different columns that we want it to display right here. If you go to our website, under flexrentalsolutions.com, if you go to support and downloads, we have provided a search element with field names PDF here that has a lot of the different tokens that you can retrieve from that page. So the token for, if you want to display the total price, is lowercase element dot lowercase total uppercase price dot and then all capitals currency. So that'll display the total price and put it in a currency format. So if we go back to here, we said that we want to add the total, so element.totalprice.currency. So let's go and bring out a, if we wanted to be able to filter and do some searching by venue, we've got this one called venue here, and that's the token right there. So I'm going to return to here, and I'm going to type in venue. I'm going to paste in that token right there, hit the add button, and then we can drag and drop and say I want that right after the company name and then we'll hit Save Changes. So now, to get these new settings, you will have to close this quote area and go back to Projects and Quotes, and it'll start to retrieve. There's our new venue column right here, and it'll return all of the elements that are not of a closed status. So anything that is in a closed status, by default, it will not retrieve and display it automatically. So there's the name, the number, the company name, the venue, location, etc. So there's a couple ways that we can filter and start to run different reports in this area. First of all, if you're looking for a specific company, so if I want to type in best events, it just returned all of my jobs that have best event as the company. I can clear that out and hit refresh, and it'll bring everything back up. Other things that we can do are, there are certain columns that have combo boxes here that you can do specific filtering instead of just hand typing in the different areas. So, as an example, if we want to look at all of our confirmed quotes here, this would allow us to select a combo box and check which statuses we want to display. So, I'm going to go and select, let's see, it's still returning some results, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so if I select this and select all and just hit the two different confirmed statuses that I have and hit OK, what it will do is now it'll filter out all of our different statuses that are confirmed only. What you'll notice here is you've also got it broken up into different pages. So this is displaying item 1 of 50 out of a total of 539, which means we're on page 1 of 11. We can go to very specific pages here, things like that. So we can continue filtering this. Maybe we want to look for everything done within this year. We've got some pre-configured search filters for dates. So I'm going to select this year, and so now it'll filter for all of our confirmed quotes in the year 2012. And again, it'll continue to filter this, so now we're down to 1 out of 50 out of a total of 87. You can also, on these dates, use custom fields to display specific information. So instead of using the pre-configured this month, this year, etc., last month, next month, you can use custom fields also. So that allows us to view all these different quotes that are confirmed in this year. So, and then we also have a footer area for the totals, which will show you your total balance or your total amount that is confirmed this year. There are a couple other features that are really nice with this area. First of all, under Preferences, this will show you all the different columns, but you as a user can say which specific columns you only want to see, whether you want to show footers, whether you want to see these filters, and how many records per page. So those are your preferences per user. And then you can also reorganize which order in which they display and save that for your preferences also. This button here just simply expands and collapses the footer area. So right now it's not showing our footer, and if we reselect it, it will do that also. If we've got some filters in here that we just want to get rid of, we can click this clear filter, and then it will take all of our filters and return it back to showing all results. Finally, we have the ability to export this information into a bunch of different formats. Let's look at how we can do this. If we go to print here, we can print the current page, all pages, specific pages, whether you want to preview it, and which columns to print. So if we hit all pages and hit print, this area will allow us to generate this report right here. We configure whether we want to print it portrait or landscape, etc. And if we hit generate PDF or print, and it can print out that report right there. So that's a really great tool for just printing out and doing some great filtering and reporting on generic reports. We can also generate to PDF, export it to Word, or export to Excel. So let's hit export all pages format. We're just going to send it out to Excel. Hit export. It'll ask us where we want to put that. We're going to put that on our desktop and hit save. And now I'm going to go to desktop, and there's our CSV file that it is going to open up. And so here is the export of that Excel spreadsheet. It does not export the footer information. That is stuff that is calculated by the system as it displays it. So it doesn't push that with the export, but very easily we could go and hit sum, and that's going to sum everything in that column. And we'll hit enter. So now we've got our information for reporting purposes also. And we're not going to save that. So with all these different filters here, there's lots of information that you may want to pull out. Let's go back to our page here, and let's go over a couple of different areas. There are certain fields that it'll bring up static information. An example of that is the element name. It doesn't have to calculate the element name, it just pulls that piece of information. There are other fields that take time for it to process all of that information. So we've got this string here called prep time. We had a customer ask us, how do I want to be able to look at and put in a value of a time it takes each item to be prepped, and then display a total prep time per quote or pull sheet, etc. Well, we don't store that. That's something that's calculated because it's constantly changing as you add and update inventory items. So these fields that calculates, when we bring up this whole area here, it will go through and calculate that value for each item. So there are certain fields that take longer and will to calculate. So on here, it will go through and calculate the tax on each of these as it goes through. So things like prep time, things like total price are examples of items that it will go through and calculate live as you open up that page, where load in or load out are basically static pieces of information that it can pull out rather quickly. Now, the other thing that is very helpful is sometimes people have been known to delete a quote and not know how to get it back. And the very easiest way to do that is if you hit this little checkbox right here on the top right hand side, it will now go through and search for all of our deleted items. We have filters here. So what this is saying is show us all of our deleted items that are for all account managers that are confirmed and have a start date during this year, etc. So if I needed to bring this back to life, I could select this item right here and hit undelete selected. And it'll say, are you sure you want to undelete this element? So that's Gallagher Staging Super Bowl, and I will undelete that. And so now, if we go back and do a search for Super Bowl, it will go through and we can find that Super Bowl. And there's this item, Super Bowl for Gallagher Staging, which is no longer deleted. So that's a really quick way for us to undelete specific items or specific quotes and bring them back to life. So if you've ever by mistake deleted anything, that's the way to do it. To reduce the amount of people asking how you undelete things, we did add a new feature in the last release that would allow you, it has a basic secondary pop-up that says, are you sure you want to delete this quote? So what was happening is people were mistakenly hitting delete this quote instead of delete selected lines. So now if you hit delete this quote, it's a two-step process. It's saying you're about to delete this quote. Do you agree? You would have to hit I agree and then hit delete. So that's a two-step process. So now if we refresh this item, it is no longer shown. It is deleted. But if we want to search for it, there it is, and it's there, it's deleted. And if we want to bring it back to life a second time, click on it, undelete, and it brings it back, unchecks that deleted area. By necessity, databases do not delete things because it would cause what we call foreign key issues. And so everything in the system is never deleted. It is just flagged as deleted. You can always bring it back to life by removing that deleted flag. So all these other areas, if you want to look at invoices, these are some different elements that again are configurable for each different element. We've got on here to show the name, the invoice number, the parent name. So if you're using incremental invoices and say this is for World Cup and this is World Cup installment 1 and 2, we want to show the parent element name along with the name of the element itself. We've got lots of people who were using this area to do some generic tax reporting to say, let me look at all my invoices that was due this month and how much taxes I'm supposed to pay, etc. So this area is very useful for all the different types of elements. We have a question here. How would you set this page so it always brings up the most recent quotes as default? Right now we don't have that as a setting. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it will default to the created date. So whichever one of these was created first down to the one created last is how we do it by default. We may want to look into that to see if there's a configuration that we can add in there. But as of now, I believe it does oldest first, newest last. Let's see, are there any other questions on the project element pages? Any tokens that you wish you had here that you haven't been able to find? Well, looks like we got a quiet crowd here. That will just about do it for this page. I know for Flex internally, we use this page quite a bit on all of our invoicing. This is how we go through and do all of our invoicing. Oh, that brings me to one other feature that is somewhat hidden in here that is really spectacular is, let's go back to this area, you can right click on these and do workflows here. What that means is you could go and search for all your quotes that are, say, tentative for this month, and go through and right click every single one that is called and confirmed and refresh and work all these different elements straight through the process. So we're going to go under statuses and we're going to take off all. We're going to go to tentative and inquiry and hit OK. And let's go to this month and filter it out for everything happening this month. So if I want to look at all these quotes and say, oh, yep, these guys called and confirmed it, I forgot to confirm it, we can right click on this and go to confirm quote. We can send out the email notifications from here also, etc. And it will go through and refresh all this information. So that item that we just confirmed, so let's do this for the Charlotte Symphony. We'll confirm this one. Once we're done with this, Charlotte Symphony should disappear because it no longer fits into the filtering status. So let's go and we had a question, can you all also do that for pull sheets as well? Correct. So if I want to look at, say, all my confirmed and hit OK. And there's that Charlotte Symphony. We can also generate the pull sheet directly from here also. So this allows us to do lots of quick workflow without having to open up every single quote or invoice and do things directly through here. So from invoices, if you've got everything is flagged as ready to invoice and you want to export all these different invoices, I'm on the demo site, so that doesn't have QuickBooks, but you could literally right click on each one of these items and export each of these straight here from this quote and get them ready to go out to QuickBooks, etc. So this will help you get a lot of work done. Again, you could also say, I need to look for a specific job or a specific company. I need to look for everything by initial productions. And it'll filter all that stuff out. And so maybe this is all pertaining to a job that's got 5 different events happening to it. I could generate the pull sheet for that. And keep on working and get all this work done all at one time. As far as meaning, we had a question, can you change the status of a pull sheet report as well, meaning from prepped to return? You could configure it to do that. Normally, we process that information through the workflow, meaning as we open up and go to, say, warehouse prep pull sheet, it doesn't look like we've got any pull sheets that are ready to be prepped. But normally when we open those up and we go and mark them out, when we hit finalize, that is generally how we change workflow statuses. If you do want to be able, I'll have to check on that to see if we can create a workflow option. So Viewer 5, if you want to contact me afterwards, we'll look at your specific instance and we could probably customize your own settings to allow that if you would like to. With that, I think we'll call that a good day. And if you've got any specific questions on this, these specific view pages, please email those to support@flexrentalsolutions.com. And we will also be posting this later on to our YouTube site. And we thank you very much for your time and for your support. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.